Hey, I'm Johnny Pierce with the drums, and I'm from New York City.
Oh, and feel the ocean.
Oh, God. Well, there's a song on the new album called Under the Ice, and I think that song really encapsulates exactly who I am and how I feel, my overall feeling every day of my life. You know, it's just sort of this wondering and feeling lost, getting quite existential. You know, why am I here? What is this really all about? You know, this new album was an opportunity to really represent who I am versus the other albums I was representing more than just me. So I'd like the world to hear that song.
Please come.
My favorite artist right now, other than Bjork is always my number one, but something brand new, not brand new, but a few years old. This DJ producer named Sophie, who's doing really amazing, groundbreaking electronic music. People call it PC music, but it's the sounds that she's coming up with are, I don't know how she does it. It's just really mind-blowing stuff. It's sort of like Aphex Twin meets like Sega Genesis. That's how I would describe it.
Oh, the tropical weather.
My favorite food is anything Mexican. I can eat Mexican food all day long, non-stop tacos, and yeah, I think I do eat actually Mexican all day long, whenever I can. This is not some great hope of mine, it's something that is a reality.
He's closing up in plain sight.
Oh, my favorite swear word, I guess fuck is pretty good. You know, it just feels nice. You can use it in all sorts of ways. And I think for me, growing up in a household where both of my parents were like evangelical ministers, very strict, and so I guess when you say the F word, for me it's like every time I say it, subconsciously I'm pulling myself out of that weird childhood thing. So I appreciate that word.
And I wanna share a cigarette and I wanna go dancing.
Oh, well, you know, I've just read a report by the New York Times that breakfast, you're gonna like this, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. That was a lie. That was the cereal companies spending millions of dollars paying off politicians and people in the Food and Drug Administration. Please tell the world that breakfast is very important. Well, guess what? The new rule is you just eat when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat breakfast. It's healthier. And that's a fact, it's scientific proof. This morning though, I did have breakfast. I had a cheese sandwich at like a hotel, you know, kind of a crappy way to start the day. Actually, I was saying to my boyfriend, I feel really flat today. I just feel kind of like, and it's probably because of that cheese sandwich. Yeah.
Oh, and I wanna share a cigarette and I wanna go.
Well, gosh, whenever I get asked about, you know, charities or, you know, who do you like to stand up for, my default is to go to anything that supports and encourages LGBTQ people. However, I'm trying to do this new thing, you know, because I'm a homosexual, happily. Finally, I can say that I'm happy about that. I had a hard road figuring that out and accepting it. Now I wouldn't change it for the world. I feel lucky to be gay. But I do feel like we run into problems sometimes when, you know, I think people need to look around them and not just fight for causes that directly affect them. And so I'm actually, you know, my brain wants to just help, you know, put all your effort into LGBTQ, but part of me really is like, I'm gonna focus on, you know, immigrants and immigrant reform and immigration reform and people who are down and out. So, you know, it's scary if you're just standing up for who you are and you're not standing up for, you know, somebody who is different than you, but who is also being attacked. So I think it's good practice to kind of observe a little bit more than just what's directly affecting you.
But she loved me. When she died, I slept in her.
Oh, God. Keon! He's my movie buddy. The last movie. What's the last movie we watched in the theater? There was a. This is silly, but I want to be truthful. You know?
There you go. That's good though. That's good.
So we went. Steven Spielberg had it was like an anniversary or something of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I remember seeing that movie when I was young and just being blown away, but I don't think it ages well. I think for like movie buffs and people who just love film itself and the progression of film and all that, I think they can still really like love that. But like, I like films the same reason I like songs. It's about the story, and I feel like that film doesn't have too much of a story, really. It's actually really slow, and but I'm glad it exists. I think there's a guy from Kraftwerk actually in the movie playing those synth parts at the end. So yeah, we watched a weird old 80s movie. Yeah, iconic tone.
This would be the last time.
My favorite pizza topping? I like, my favorite pizza is like a white pizza. So there's no red sauce, it's just lots of cheese, and I think it's like ricotta or something. So yeah, I like cheese.
All these memories.
Dinner with anyone living or dead? I'd like to have dinner with Bjork, but I don't know if that would ever happen because I've been very close to her. I've been like this close to her, you know, many times. Yeah, I went to her birthday party and all this stuff, and everyone's like, look, she's standing there by herself. She's dancing by herself. She's playing Rihanna off her iPod. Like, just have fun. And I'm just like, she's the only person in the whole world that I get a little choked up about. And I think part of it is I have such admiration. And you know, it's that whole thing like, don't meet your heroes because, you know, maybe Dancing with Bjork, suddenly she's not a unicorn to me anymore. She's just a person. And I want her to always remain a unicorn. So.
All these memories coming back at me.
Like an hour ago? Yeah. No, to be honest, doing like small intimate sessions, it's always gets my heart kind of pounding and I get nervous. The bigger the crowd, the easier it is for me, you know? So if there's like, you walk out in, you know, Primavera, the last time we played there, I think there were 35,000 kids at our show. And I just, you know, just felt like, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And this sort of thing just makes me nervous. I think it's just because I can look at all of your faces and just kind of like, oh, you're a real person, and we're here. So yeah, I get a little nervous. I mean, I went through a divorce. I was married, and I was not totally faithful, and I got in big trouble for that. I think it's the only time since childhood that I've ever like felt like I was like in trouble. Because I've just always been my own kind of boss person. I just kind of listen to myself. Yeah, I don't really get in trouble. Well, the lesson I learned, I mean, if I'm gonna like throw myself under the bus like that, I might as well just also like help you all learn at home that it's okay to make mistakes, and maybe next time around, you know, really listen to your heart before you commit to something. decide for yourself, take some time, don't rush into anything, decide for yourself, can I actually do this? And does this really bring me joy? Or is this something that kind of works, you know? So if you're getting into a relationship for practical reasons, which I think millions and millions of people are in, I don't know. You just really have to listen to your heart. You got to know yourself. So like, listen to yourself. Spend a lot of time alone. Being alone, here's the problem. People think now with Instagram and all this stuff, like being alone is like, ooh, there's a big difference between being lonely and being alone. You can be alone and not be lonely. They're different things. And it doesn't make you a loser if you're hanging out on your own. It actually makes you, I think, a pretty strong person if you can enjoy your own company. So these are probably much longer answers than you're looking for. Yeah.
To make you want to run away, I know very well.
I don't really have a bucket list. I'm not a bucket list kind of gal. I really take life as it comes. I can't think of a single thing where I'm like, have to do that before I die. I've always enjoyed the pleasure of letting life kind of unfold in a really organic way. And it always has for me, you know. Life like really lifts me up to really great heights, and it also just like drops me. And it adds for richness. You know, I think if you have all these goals of all these things you want to do, and you're so like rigid and strict, like with yourself, like having to check all this stuff off, you might miss out on those like beautiful in-between moments. So life is about the lines between the lines, you know. So skydiving, if it happens, okay. But it's got to feel kind of natural. It's like writing a song, it's like writing an album. You can't just, you know, I think you kind of sacrifice something, the spirit of spontaneity, which is really what life is, you know, just like, So you got to be careful. I'm not saying don't set goals, but if that's all you're doing, I think you're gonna miss out on what's really just right there in front of you.
But you won't believe me.